For most of our lives, the sound we've heard has been, well, kind of flat. It's either on your left or it's on your right. It's like a picture. But what if sound could be something more? What if it could actually wrap around you, move with you, and feel just as real as the world you see? Well, a revolution is happening right now, and it's about to change everything you hear. So yeah, let's get into it.
This is probably the best way to wrap your head around it. We've all grown up with stereo sound, right? That's the flat photograph. It's got width, sure, but there's no real depth to it. 3D audio, you'll also hear it called spatial audio, is a total game changer. It's like stepping inside a hologram. All of a sudden, sound has height, it has depth, it has distance. It's not just left and right anymore, it's literally everywhere.
So what is this stuff, technically speaking? Well, 3D audio is basically a clever technology that's designed to trick your brain into thinking you're hearing things in a real physical space. It creates this complete three-dimensional soundscape. And the craziest part? It works through just a regular pair of headphones. This lets you hear not just where a sound is, but how far away it is, and if it's moving toward you or even flying over your head.
And this image right here, this just nails the difference, doesn't it? Over on the left, you've got your traditional stereo. It's just a straight line going between your ears. But on the right, that's 3D audio. It's a full sphere, a dome of sound that completely surrounds you. And that leap from a simple 2D line to a full 3D sphere is exactly why this is such a massive deal.
But, a revolution like this doesn't just happen overnight. To really get where we are now, we've got to take a quick look back at how we got here. The whole dream of a 3D soundscape, it actually started with some pretty fascinating and honestly kind of weird experiments. So, the journey really kicks into gear back in 1980 with this thing called holophonic audio. They were literally recording sound using a mannequin head with microphones stuck inside its ears. The whole idea was to capture sound exactly the way a person would hear it. Then in the 90s, Dolby Surround brought us 5.1 channel audio in movie theaters, which was a nice step up. But the huge breakthrough came in 2012 with Dolby Atmos. This was the birth of object-based audio. See, instead of assigning a sound to a speaker, Atmos treats a sound like a movable object, say a helicopter, that can be placed and moved anywhere in a 3D space with pinpoint accuracy. And that path leads us all the way to 2025 and a new name on the block, Eclipse.
Okay, so that's the history lesson. But what does all this mean for the music, the games, and the shows you're actually watching right now? Because this tech isn't just for labs anymore. It's fundamentally reshaping our everyday entertainment. Think about it. In music, a producer can put the guitar over here to your left, the drums behind you, and the vocals right up front, like you're in the room with the band. In gaming, it's a legitimate competitive advantage. You can hear exactly where an enemy's footsteps are coming from, above you, behind you, wherever. And for movies and podcasts, it's all about creating these incredibly immersive worlds that just pull you right into the story. So who's actually leading the pack in music streaming? Well, as of 2025, Apple Music is way out in front. A full 20% of its massive library is in 3D audio. Amazon Music is also making a strong showing at 15%. And then there's Spotify. They still don't have native support, and less than 5% of their stuff is in any kind of immersive format. It's a huge gamble, and you have to wonder if they're betting on the wrong horse. And when you see it laid out in a chart like this, wow, the gap is impossible to ignore. The difference between a company like Apple that jumped on this early and a laggard like Spotify isn't just a little gap, it's a chasm. It really makes you ask, is Spotify getting left in the dust here? And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, but do people actually care? Well, here is your answer. 300%. That is the massive growth in people listening to immersive audio that Apple Music saw right after they launched spatial audio. This isn't some niche gimmick. There is huge mainstream demand for this. The change in gaming has been just as wild. I mean, we went from the simple little mono boops of Pong in the 70s to the 90s, where games like Quake gave us basic directional clues, right? You could hear a monster lurking around a corner. But now we have systems like the PlayStation 5's Tempest 3D engine that create dynamic soundscapes in real time. The audio literally changes based on the environment and every single move you make. It's just an unbelievable leap. Okay, so this tech is incredible. People clearly want it, and it's changing everything. But making these amazing experiences doesn't come free. So what's the actual price tag on this sound revolution? For a music producer, the investment is pretty hefty. On average, it costs about 50% more to mix a single song in a 3D format compared to a normal stereo mix. That's more time, it's more specialized skill, and yeah, it's more money. And it's a similar story over in Hollywood.
For a single movie or TV show, adding that 3D audio post-production can easily tack on an extra $30,000, or even more. That's a serious line item on any budget.
And this right here, this might be the biggest hurdle for creators. To do this stuff right, a studio has to completely upgrade its hardware, especially its speakers and monitoring gear. That kind of upgrade can balloon equipment costs by a staggering 300%. That is a huge barrier to entry, especially for indie creators.
But, and this is a huge but, despite all those high costs, the investment seems to be paying off. Big time. Movies released in 3D audio formats are seeing about a 15% bump at the box office. And on streaming, that immersive sound leads to 25% more viewer retention. People just stick around longer when the experience is that much better.
So you have these high costs and these expensive licensing fees that have created a real barrier. But what if there was a way to get all the perks of 3D audio without that massive price tag? Well, this brings us to the next chapter in this whole saga, a new player that wants to make this tech available to absolutely everyone. Let me introduce you to Eclipsa Audio. It's a collaboration between Google and Samsung, and it's a powerful 3D audio format with two magic words attached to it: royalty-free. Because it's open source, it completely gets rid of those expensive licensing fees you have with formats like Dolby Atmos. It directly attacks that cost barrier we were just talking about.
And their mission statement, it's right there in their announcement: immersive audio for everyone. The goal here isn't just to compete with the big dogs, it's to democratize the technology. It's about putting these powerful 3D audio tools into the hands of every single creator, no matter how big or small.
So, is it actually working? Get this. The data from its first year on YouTube is just stunning. Eclipsa went from 5 million total views in January to an unbelievable 200 million by November. That isn't just growth, that's an explosion. It shows that when you remove that cost barrier, people will adopt it at lightning speed. This could be the very thing that makes 3D audio the new standard for everyone. So, the shift is clear, right? We've gone from a flat line of sound to a full immersive sphere. We've seen how it's transforming our music and games, and now open source tech is putting it into everyone's hands. The big question isn't if 3D audio is the future anymore. It is. The real question is, now that sound is truly three-dimensional, what new worlds, what incredible new stories, and what new experiences are we all going to create with it?